this lady had to give birth in a ranch court or whatever. Bruno. Now, the doctor wasn't like available, so one of the police, delivered the baby or whatever. Bruno. And they still had this lady, handcuffed. She had her hands behind her back while she was getting birth or whatever. This shit crazy as hell. But the thing is, they actually searched her, before they took her in, and they found that she had heroin and cocaine up in her possession or whatever. And this was before they locked her up or whatever. For real though, it's something that's some crazy shit, but that's what happened. For real though. I mean, shit. And damn, that is crazy as hell. But anyway, now these individuals and presentism of Michigan is not looking at these women prisoners like they're supposed to, because they have mold up in their jail cells and all that shit all through the fucking place or whatever. And even if these female inmates get sick, they treat it like it's not even important or nothing like that. For real though. They don't give them no medical care service or nothing like that. For real though. They just let them suffer through that shit. For real though. I mean that shit crazy as hell. I'm telling you. That shit's some crazy shit. For real though. They tell them what's going on, and they just at night they didn't hear shit. For real though. That's some crazy ass shit. I'm telling you. Goddamn. Some silly shit. For real though. Anyway, just teacher. See, it all start goddamn you know what I'm saying? Showing these kids, this example or whatever went on. And she did this shit on the down. She put cord over a dow's neck, right? And she acted like she was hanging somebody or whatever went on. She then took fucking down over the goddamn TV monitor in front of these children. Real though, and it's crazy as hell. It's she was saying a fucking message to them. She was gonna be a part of doing something to one of their asses or something like that. When she lynched they goddamn down. For real though. Man, that shit crazy as hell. Oh my goodness. I hope her ass got in trouble for that shit. Real though. I'm telling you. That shit crazy as fuck. Anyway. Shit. Now. It's some crazy shit. Anyway. Now, they obviously warning black athletes not to play in states that what I'm saying, try to ruin voting for black individuals. You know what I'm saying? Black people in general. For real. And I don't I'm not bothered about that shit. You know what I'm saying? For real though. I mean because they want the athletes to compete in the games that they want them to compete in, so they could keep winning, so they could keep on making money and shit like that. But when it comes to voting and shit, they want to strip that shit away. And hell, I'm goddamn, yeah. I mean shit, they just want to make money. They want to make money, but they don't want to, what I'm saying? like chip in, and when it's like, chip in to stop this, like, stuff from, like, these motherfuckers from trying to cut us promoting and shit like that. So I can understand that. I can understand it for real though. Anyway, so now this, like, this happened in a coffee place or whatever, whatnot. For real though, this, like, 75-year-old woman went up in a coffee shop, and she was, like, actually, like, complaining about, like, how our order got fucked up and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Right on. And she was talking to this 17-year-old. Because I think the 17-year-old was at the drive-thru. They, like, gave her the fucking coffee or whatever, whatnot. For real though. So, yeah, I mean, like, shit, that was, like, something else or whatever. It was just, like, talking to her, whatever, whatnot. This 20-year-old came in and came at her aggressively and shit like that. She was still trying to hold a conversation with the 17-year-old. The, like, 20-year-old pushed her. She ended up punching the 20-year-old. The 20-year-old just came, like, over the counter and started, like, just, like, punching her. She made her fall down, and she was whooping her ass or whatever, whatnot, and stuff like that. Real though, she just was pounding on her. You know what I'm saying? Like 20 minutes, like, for 20 minutes go by. For real though, the other employees, like, pulled her off her. And before they, like, got her away from that lady, she, like, just actually, like, stumped her. She stumped her, like, bam, for real though. It was crazy. But anyway, the lady had, like, trying to, like, break her fall by, like, grabbing something or whatever. She ended up grabbing her hair or whatever, whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But that didn't, like, do no difference because she still fell on the ground or whatever, whatnot. Now, this lady, like, actually died from, like, what happened or whatever, whatnot. For real though, that shit's crazy as hell. Like, god damn. I mean, like, now, I already knew that everybody was a fucking target. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? For real though, especially the old. I mean, like, shit. For real though, because, like, that shit crazy as hell. And they trying to make it seem like that she was, like, defending herself because the lady was trying to beat all up on her and shit. Like, no, the fuck she wasn't. The thing is, the 20-year-old put her motherfucking hands on the lady, and the lady defended herself. And she didn't like that. So she ended up beating her ass. That's about it. For real though. And that shit crazy as fuck. Yes, that woman had a chance to defend herself and shit like that. For real though. She had to do it. But anyway, shit, they up there just try to act like the white motherfucker, like, the 20-year-old was a goddamn victim. No, the fuck she wasn't. No, she wasn't. She was that fucking attacker. That's about it. That's what she was. And that's on bro. Anyway, the lawyer that, like, called up, like, woman, like, the N-word up in court or whatever, was going through, like, was saying, like, up in this, like, I think it was, like, child custody trial or whatever, whatnot. He got, like, had charges against him, and then it was dropped because he said sorry and all this other shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy as hell. For real though. He, like, had said he had, like, to, like, sit and get sent to jail and all that shit, but all that shit was dropped. Why? Because that was some old bullshit. That's like, like this white individual looking after a white individual. That's about it. That's all that is. You know what I'm saying? For real though. I'm not even playing. For real though. Like, oh, that's some crazy shit. That's some old crazy ass shit. For real though. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like, goddamn. That's some, like, some crazy shit. Like, they babying a motherfucker. Like, it's like, their firstborn child or some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's about it. You know what I'm saying? For real though. Anyway, that's some crazy shit. And that's on, bro. Now, I'm about to like, go ahead and like do my thing or whatever. Like probably play my game or just like, sit around just chill and shit. But anyway, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Hit the bell on notifications so you see my next upload and my next post, and make sure I make another much more. And okay, you can check out my previous videos if you like, gang. So long, farewell, goodbye.